Hello everyone, this is Chirabo Ian. I want to present for Group 6 our assignment. Yeah, our yes. Okay, yeah, so our question was analyze aggregate labor supply, describe how it is measured, and what factors influence the changes in total labor supply in an economy. Yeah, so this is Group 6. So the definition of labor supply, aggregate labor supply refers to the total number of hours that individuals in an economy are willing and able to work at a given wage rate. So this represents the availability of labor in an economy as a whole. Yeah, so this concept is used in microeconomics to understand the overall availability of labor that firms can hire in an economy. In short terms, like we can use this to see the number of labor that different firms or different companies in a given economy, for example, in Uganda's economy, that they can hire or they can pull up at a given wage rate at a given period of time. Yeah. So how aggregate labor supply is measured. So here we are going to use the labor force participation rate, which is labor force out of the working age population times 100. Now, in Uganda, the working age population is between 15 and 64. 64 being the age of retirement. Yeah. So the total number of employment. These are the total number of people who are currently employed, like who are currently employed, because the but let me first take you back. The labor force participation rate. These are people who are working or seeking employment. You get, so they are both in the they are both working, and there are also those who are not working but they are seeking the employment. So the total employment. This is the number of people who are currently employed. Then the total hours worked. This combines the number of hours, the number of workers, and the average number of hours worked per worker to reflect on the volume of labor. Yes, so the demographic data, these are the census or labor surveys that are often used to collect data on employment and unemployment. Yes. So the different factors that influence changes in aggregate labor supply. One, we have the wage rates. Now, a high wages generally are going to encourage individuals to join the labor force. That is, whereas the low wages discourage individuals from the. I think this is kind of self-explanatory, but in case there are high wages in a given sector, let me say there are high wages in let me say like in okay, let me say HR, like they are giving high wages for HR. Or different companies have come in and have set up companies, and they need HR people, and they're giving them more what, more, more salary or wages. They're going to encourage people to work towards that or to study human resource. So this is going to increase the labor supply of human resource. Whereas if it goes down, people are going to get discouraged from studying human resource. Yeah. So population growth rate. A high population growth rate is going to increase the working age, thus boosting the labor supply, while a low population growth rate is going to decrease the working age population, thus decreasing or leading to a low labor supply. Then the education skills and development. More educated population can lead to a high participation and more productive labor. Like when people are highly educated, they're going to participate more in the labor, whereas a less educated population leads to a less participation in what, productive labor. Then there are also social factors and social and cultural factors. Now, here we can use the gender roles. For example, people have this notion that women can't work as engineers or women can be engineers. So when there's a society that has that norm or that factor in them, there are going to be less women participating in the engineering workforce. That's These gender roles are going to hinder these people from participating in that labor market. Yeah, whereas in areas where they are generally free, the women can join the engineering, so it's going to lead to a higher labor supply. So there are also government policies, favorable government policies. such as with the minimum wage laws. These are going to encourage participation in labor force because they are what? They are going to favor the employer, sorry, the employees, like the labor, because there's a minimum what wage set. So people will be encouraged since they'll be gaining more money. Whereas unfavorable government policies like maximum wages, these ones in turn they favor the employers and they're going to limit on the money of the employees. So it's going to discourage people from joining the labor force. Another factor I can put on government policy, though it's not here, it is on taxes. Like if there are more taxes imposed on individuals, let me say the payee, pay as you earn, the pay as you earn tax, it's going to discourage people from working because the more money you get, the more tax they take. So people are going to be discouraged from working. So they're going to be discouraged from participating in the labor force. Whereas subsidies or like NSSF and all that is going to encourage people to come in the labor force and participate because they will be the employees are gaining more money, so they will be encouraged to join the labor force. Then there's immigration. Immigration now when there's now immigration there's immigration that is leaving, the one with E. Then there's immigration, people coming in. So when there's immigration, when people are coming in, when there's an inflow of workers, this is going to lead to what? A high aggregate labor supply because there'll be a high population. Whereas if there are if there are people leaving, which is immigration, like people leaving the country, there's going to be a low labor supply as what as most of the people are leaving. You can't even call this brain drain. Like most of the people who are gaining skills, or most of the people who have these skills are leaving the country. Then there is technological changes. This may uh, this may shift the nature of jobs. That's like, for example, let me say, okay, I'm going to give you an example of advanced, like the first world countries. First world countries, there are now fewer and fewer people who work on what in supermarkets since they've introduced in machines that can replace these people. So when they introduce when these technological changes come in, they're going to lead to a low labor participation or a low labor supply because now people are being replaced with what the machines. Whereas now here in the third world country where there are low technological changes or there are technological advancement is still low, there's going to be a high labor supply because now even here we still have those ladies who work on, or those ladies and gentlemen who work on what at supermarkets to receive our goods. Yeah. So there's also health, unless there's health and life expectancy. Healthier populations with long life expectancy tend to work more for more years. So so when people are healthier, they want to work longer since they're going to live longer and work for more years. Whereas an unhealthier population with a short expectancy is going to, like, since the people will be dying early. Let me say you have a short expectancy of 60 something. People will be dying early, so there will be less labor supply. That's less participation in what? In the labor force. Yeah, that's all we have. Thank you very much.
Wait, okay, we're done.